the Indie Housing Market podcast. I'm Kyle.morris with FC Tucker and Morris Property Group. This is
Hi, Shelly Walters with FC Tucker and Shelly Walters Realtors Group.
And Justin Griffith with Keller Indy Metro and Northeast.
Yeah, so welcome. What do you guys think of the current housing market as we get into, we got the summer selling season that we're rolling into the end of. We're about to have Labor Day. We're starting to enter the fall season as we get into the more of the winter months and the fall months. Like obviously the market will change.
So no,
I know.
I've been seeing Halloween
Especially
stuff
with
out.
it being 99.
What's up with that?
I know.
It's too soon.
No.
It's just, everything's too
All
fast.
the movies are being out too. Last night on TV, I was seeing all these Halloween movies being.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
August.
It's too soon.
People are putting up Halloween decorations, and it's like, man, that's 2 months away.
Yeah.
Like, what are we
Some
talking
people
about?
are really freaky about their Halloween, like Brenda here.
All over the bed. Yeah. She leaves it up in May.
Yeah. Have you seen her yard?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But it's weird. The past 3 years have just been a blur, quite honestly. Anyways, I don't feel like it's been even though it's segmented by season, obviously, it's just been kind of nonstop, quite honestly, because people who don't want to buy in the summer, there's been droves of them, I would say, in the fourth and first quarter, right, of the past couple of years. And then obviously in this, people are wanting to list in the summer, but then if they're trying to buy contingent, which I've been able to get a bunch of contingent offers done, but people who are trying to set or buy contingent, they're wanting to sell in the winter because they think there's this perception that you can't buy contingent right now, right?
Yeah.
So they're like listing in fall, winter, stuff like that because they think they have that ability, even though they do right now. But I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I just think the market's really been changing in the past couple of months, big time. I mean, just in so many ways, it's not any one thing, but it's just different. It's just really different. Looking at the stats, we're kind of the same with me in regards to looking at what's coming on the market, but houses are coming back on the market. They're not making it through inspections.
Yeah, I've seen more mutual releases in the past 60 days. I just think transactions in general have been more contentious in nature the past 60 days. It's been very
Not so much working together. It's just like everybody's kind of like at each other's throat and trying to protect each other's interests, I guess, like clients, like buyers and sellers. But I do feel that there's a lot more contention on the negotiation side.
Do you think that's because sellers still think it is a seller's market for the record, right? As far as pricing goes. But do you think it's because buyers watch the news or read the headlines and they think that the market has gotten worse and all this stuff? So they're like, we have the leverage, which they kind of do, but not to the level they think they do.
Correct.
And they like just draw their line in the sand and like want to die on principle type stuff. I've seen a lot of that stuff, like over like $400. And I'm like, wow.
$1,000 inspection item. And it's like, walked away from the deal. It was a long deal. We worked through absolutely everything, home appraised, everything, and just walked away with $1,000, like mutual release. Buyer would not come back to the table at all.
Yeah, it's just
I think it's the interest rates too, though. These buyers, they say, I'm paying top dollar for these houses on price and on interest rates. So not only were we back in the day, 6 months ago or a year ago, with the prices, but now we're looking at prices and interest rates, and the buyers at some point just say, I give. I'm not giving all my blood at once, So the sellers really do need to understand it is a seller's market in regards to inventory, but they still need to work with the buyer they have.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it has become a market, I think, whereas if you go back on the market, everybody's like, what's wrong with the house? So you don't want to go back on the market if you have a good deal going over $1,000.
Oh, exactly.
You're going to lose that on your sale price probably the next time around. Times 10.
Buyers are using that disproportionately also. I feel like it's just weird. It's very different from what we've experienced the past 3 years. Such a hard buck back against like $400. It's like a dishwasher, and I'm like, man,
I'll buy the dishwasher.
Yeah, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
I'd rather you get in a house because this time next year you're gonna regret it. You're gonna regret not buying
And
it.
this time last month, you're regretting it. I mean, the rate's already up 0.3%, since
Was it
then.
7.65? I think this morning is what I saw.
Something, astronomical.
It's high.
We're not lenders. We're
Yeah,
not lenders.
yeah,
Lenders
yeah.
for those
Lenders,
situations.
We will get lenders here. But
Yes.
I don't know. It's just really interesting kind of what's happening because when you look at the inventory itself, it's kind of gone down or stayed stagnant from where it has been for, I don't know, better part of 3 months, you know. I mean, when we were coming into the selling season, we were more in like in these certain areas that we look at. Like I know like in Fishers, you know, I was looking at like 69 on the market and stuff like that. And I'm more up around like 115, but like I've been around 109 to 120 since June.
Yeah,
You know, like but the personality of the market has changed significantly.
absolutely. I do see, like, when I was looking at my numbers too, like half were over or at list price, and then half like had like big discounts. So I know
Yeah.
people are waiting for good deals. Something I was going to say just personally, like that's with the deal I'm working on right now is, we have a buyer. Well, I just lost the whole train of thought on that. We have a buyer like looking for a home in a neighborhood, and it's like the comps are all very high. And we found somebody that's kind of in a pinch that needs to sell, and we're going to probably end up being like 75 under
Under
what
list.
it was going to be at originally. Yeah.
You know, when you look at the numbers, it still stayed true. Like you either are selling in 7, well, it's more like 8 right now, but
Yeah.
you're selling in 7 or 8 days, or you're selling in like 30, 35, 40. But it still sells, and people think because I don't sell in 30 days, or I don't sell in a week, and they're on the market 30 days, they're like, you know, the world's ending or whatever.
Yeah.
In all reality, like your house is going to sell, you're going to be just fine. But we've had to have a lot more conversations with, we have a couple that have kind of set like around that 30, 45 days. But when you look at the numbers, like that's just 100% normal. You either hit the first weekend or you're kind of going to sit a little bit.
Yeah.
And then people overreact to that.
Absolutely.
And buyers are like, let's swing for the fences on trying to kill them on price. And sellers are panicked and they're like, okay.
Or they have to get out and they're just willing to take it. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're not getting offers right now, it's like you're going to take what you're getting, and I mean, it's like they're out there.
Well, and that comes down to as well, if you have the seller who's at 30 to 40 days and they finally do get an offer and it's 10,000 under or whatever, it is up to them to decide at that point if they want to accept that. It's the only offer you have. So it's back to the way we used to negotiate, right? It's your first offer. It's probably your best offer.
Yeah.
And just because you have been told it's a seller's market, you may now be giving a little bit of concession on the sale price, but that also has to do with making sure that they were listed properly. So, you
That
know,
too.
we're coming in and seeing, I'm still seeing a lot of houses being listed really high. They're looking at the sale price and not maybe what the list price was. I also don't feel like I'm seeing a lot of higher than list price offers right now. I don't know. Are you seeing that?
I see it, but not significant.
Right.
Like I still like. I mean, we just got one over the weekend, and we offered a little bit over list, but it was a little bit over list. You know, it was very minimal
Yeah.
what it was over list.
And not like we were seeing 30 and 40,000 over. And I think buyers may have that concern as well. All the buyers that have left the market, which there's tons of those, that have left the market and they're sitting out there going, I'm not doing the interest rates. I think they also have in the back of their mind, I'm not doing the interest rate and the 40 to
Price.
50,000
Yeah.
over.
Oh yeah.
And just so they understand, you really don't have to do both right now.
You don't.
You
And get
don't.
an inspection out of it. I mean, well, depending if it's
Right,
multiple
right.
offers or not, but I mean, just, you know, reach out to the list agent whenever you're going to put the offer in and ask them, hey, do you have other offers? And then you kind of curtail your offer based on that. But
Yeah, and being able to ask for that stuff is so different than what you had to do even 3 to 4 months ago, 5 months ago.
yeah,
So you may have a higher interest rate, but you're not going to pay that astronomically above list price and do appraisal gap.
I'd
just
rather
like-
have the higher payment than lose my liquidity, but
Right, because you walk in with equity maybe on this particular house, but 6 months in the past 2 years, you didn't walk in with equity on a lot of these houses. You had to sit and wait for a little bit.
what I have not seen here lately, I haven't had an appraisal come in low in a
Me either.
while.
You better.
Yeah. Knock
oh,
on
this is
wood.
a knock on wood.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I've actually had them coming in higher.
Same. Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
had one. I was so excited.
Not significantly, but like 5, 7, whatever,
Yeah.
$7,000.
I just had one. I had the buyer make the offer, and I hate to say it, but this is where depends on the listing agent for that seller what they've been able to talk to them about, and if the seller or the listing agent thinks that they should have sold in 4 to 7 days and they didn't, and they've not been able to calm that seller down. The seller was at about 35 days, and I just knew that's normal. Looking at the stats like we do every day. But I was able to get it for like 16,000 under list, and also it came in appraised at their list price. So I'm like, you just walked in with equity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I don't remember the last time we've done that, so I was really excited about that.
But it was, but that's what's weird. It was priced correctly.
Yes.
It was 100% priced correctly, and because of the tone of the market, somebody beat up a seller on the price because you were good at negotiating. And then on the other end, the seller has fear, like this is where we're at.
Yep.
And they took 16K under, right? When they probably could have just danced with you a little bit and made it 8 or whatever it may
Right,
be.
right,
You know, like there's just a variety of things. But house we bought over the weekend was like in the 250 range. Last year, that house would have sold for 275 all day.
Yeah.
Oh,
All
yeah.
day.
Yeah.
In a day.
Yeah.
I mean, we did
Right.
get it in a day and it was competitive, but I mean, we were very minimally over list price. We just, you know,
Well, we don't want to make it sound like prices are tanking.
they're not.
They're
Yeah, no,
not
not at all.
changing.
Yeah, half my numbers are over ask price.
But I
for
think,
everything.
yeah,
We're
it's
at
not,
99% on list. I think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what the number is.
we're not tanking, but there's more potential for negotiation depending on the situation of the house and who's representing who, and knowing this market and like running these stats all the time. Obviously, we talk about it all the time, but we know it's okay at 30 days.
Mhm.
And when I have listings and my sellers, I've had that conversation with them, but I'm not looking at doing a price drop at 10 days.
No.
I'm
Yeah.
like, we're still good. We're still
3
good.
weeks.
Yep.
Is generally what I
I
kind
do,
of look
yeah,
at.
yeah. I
Now, if
mean,
you're not getting showings for 2 or 3 weeks, might want to look at something, but it's still, even then, I've sold a home like, I don't know, probably 3 months ago, full list price in Broad Ripple that had been sitting for 60 days. I mean, but it was a VA. The guy hadn't been able to buy a home with a VA because he had so much competition.
yeah,
And now
And
it's like
he
that deal
and he
pushed through
appreciates
and it
it.
appraised
Yeah.
and he got a house and it's great. So
Yeah.
But you gotta list it right. So
Yeah.
like I got called for advice on a listing that had been sitting stale. And it was a beautiful house and the pictures were just garbage. It wasn't ready to go, blah, blah, blah. Even the layout of the photos was just really odd. It was like 10 pictures before you even got in the house. And then the very first
Oh,
picture of
yeah.
the house was like a bat. Like the rest of them were
Right.
like good, but like I was like, we do all this legwork. And then the first one, you're like, I don't know about that.
yeah.
So it was a discussion of like new photos and a price drop. And I was like, the problem you're gonna have is the very first photo is gonna be similar. And people are going to never even jump into the other photos
Yeah.
now. Because like, I've seen this one.
Yeah,
Right. And
right.
so I would rather delay a listing by a week or two to list it correctly than list it prematurely because it is such a nightmare if you list prematurely and you're not actually ready to go on the market and have everything ready to go.
Oh, absolutely.
And it'll just kill you.
You sound like I'm going through the exact same thing. So I'm getting a listing and it was on the market and I was actually coaching one of my new agents about to put the listing together and how to put the listing together. And I went through the pictures that they had and they were not in order. I mean,
Yeah.
that just makes sense. So
Go
somebody
walking
was
through the house.
walk
Yeah.
through the house.
Yeah.
And it was like that bathrooms first and then the backyard and then into the kitchen and then into the bedroom. And we have our pictures now and I put the pictures in order and we just went and looked at both of them. It's just, to me, such common sense. And also these were professional pictures versus not professional pictures. So even though this is a seller's market, there is a very proper way to do a listing so that it actually gets out to the public in the absolute best light it can. In my opinion, that is still,
The little things matter.
it's
Absolutely.
just
Do you think
the
that's because of the
basics.
past couple of years where
Yes.
like even
Lazy.
though
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could just throw it on there.
But even then, we would
I
still
didn't.
we did everything. We still
Yeah.
did everything to the nines, like professional photography, like new mulch, like
Mhm.
power wash, everything.
Absolutely.
Even though literally probably didn't have to, right? But like
it's
we didn't
still-
get out of the
it's
routine.
still,
of it.
yeah, it's still the way I work. You
Oh,
know?
yeah, yeah.
I'd still order flyers for all the listings too, knowing that it was
It was
probably
gonna
going to
go
sell
there,
before
yeah.
the flyers
Right,
came
right.
in, but it's
Love
like
to see
they
a
have
copy your
it.
bill.
Right.
Yeah.
You just have
Yeah.
to have it,
Ready. You just gotta be ready.
that's just my work ethic. And just because it's not easier, but just because you can do it a little faster or whatever, you think you can just go against it. But so we're going to throw that back up here.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you think, real quick, to piggyback on that, have you ever seen a house being delayed to market impacting price versus putting it on too early? I never have.
I think
Never.
it's the opposite.
Yeah.
I think if you go on too early and you don't have the mulch and you didn't stage and you didn't do
Kick it a
professional
week.
pictures.
Like
Yeah.
kick it 2 weeks. What are we talking about here?
Well, it could
It's
be
not
the
gonna
difference
change.
between that first 4 days
Yeah.
and getting list or more, or that 30 days and maybe getting list or 99%. So it's money out of the seller's pocket if you don't do your job. And I think, unfortunately, if there's people that have come into the market in this, past 3 years and that's how they found that they could do their listings, we've done it for longer. We just are staying in our
Yeah.
wheelhouse
Yeah.
and the way we do it. but just seeing that and seeing how that listing was put up,
Things
that's
pop up.
how it hurts a seller, is if the agent isn't doing that. So
You
that's-
get rain, yeah, and that could delay stuff. You get a dog gets sick, like who knows?
Oh, yeah.
Like there's so many things, and then you still rush to list. Like, what are we doing?
Right.
Yeah.
Come
Like
on
we'll
here.
hold
Yeah.
off on listing if it's raining because I'm not sending pictures.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
I'm not
absolutely.
gonna.
I don't want
I'll
all
see
my
rainy
photos
pictures.
edited. Like,
When
yeah.
I will see rainy pictures where the concrete's wet, that drives me nuts. I'm like,
Yeah.
just wait a day, the next day or whatever.
Yeah.
But you were back to saying the showings and stuff. Do you remember back in the day? I mean, when we started, there was a rule that no showings for 2 weeks. Price is too high. It's time to adjust.
Yeah.
No offers after 10 showings. Price is too high. Time to adjust or see what's going on with your feedback of what's wrong. But there was a common rule. So in today's market, if you've had 40 showings in 2 weeks, you didn't get an offer. I don't care if we have stats at 4 days or 30 days. Your price is too high. And
Where
you
your
also
house
need
isn't ready for the
pay
condition.
attention
Yeah.
to the feedback. If it smells, if it needs new carpet or all that, you got to pay attention to the feedback. So even saying that days on market are averaging more like 30 if you don't hit that first weekend, you still have to do your due diligence of why.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, it doesn't mean that it's cool just sit there and wait and see what happens. There was always 0 offers in 10 days and no showings in 14 days. You've got a price or a condition issue that you need to adjust. You can't just sit there for 30 days and wait for it to happen. So that's always been the case as well. And I think these little nuances and these little rules that we were taught, first offer is always your best offer. There's just so many little sayings that are
Yeah,
ingrained in
coming
my
back.
head.
Yeah.
That it's always been there.
Do you think that's, oh my God, like an acclimation period for agents? Because, like I can remember April of 2020, like last week of March, like you can just feel the market like vibrating. You're like, man, I'm getting a lot of people coming out of the woodwork saying they're looking to buy all of a sudden. And you were like, this is going to get really, really bad. And I think all of us got really like lucky just to be in tune with it, that we were writing over listing competitive offers like first week of April because we saw where it was going. But it took people 9 months to acclimate to that as an agent. And so I just wonder if we're running into that again of
Getting
like
the-
this different switch of the market.
Exactly, not having the everybody coming into that and understanding what the escalation clause.
Yeah.
I won't take those.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Why won't you take an
Yeah.
escalate? Yeah.
Or
Like-
people like, I won't pay over list. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know what to tell you, like
Yeah.
Yeah, so all of those rules agents were like, I'm gonna stay the way we've always been. It's like, no, we need escalation clauses, we need appraisal gaps,
Yeah.
we need this. And there were just agents are like, no, I won't accept this and I won't accept that. And I'm going, but that's where we are.
Well, and so some of those people would be like, hey, like I don't want to pay $15,000 over list on this $200,000 house, right? Like this just doesn't make sense. And I agree, I didn't like it either, but I like we knew what it
Because
takes
it
to
had
get a house.
never happened.
That house is now worth 280.
That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. It's
Yeah.
a 250, 280
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
I'm like, what happened here? So we're just running into that again. I think where I feel like we're dealing with a lot of buyers who are scared back to the interest rates and back to the articles that they read and all this stuff. And I've had conversations in the past week where they're like, oh, I'm just going to wait for the market to come down. And I just don't have the evidence to suggest it will.
Oh, yeah.
I can read articles that say it, but like when you actually look at the data, it's just not there.
Yeah.
Like nothing supports it. We are in such a low supply situation. And even if demand comes down a little bit, the supply issue will continually push prices up.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
there's just no two ways around it. And then eventually interest rates will trickle down. People will try to be, I can't remember what it's called when you're early adapter, right? So like, hey, it's starting to come down. It's a 7.2, so we're going to buy in. And then more people will, and it'll start to come down a little bit more.
And then inventory shrinks.
And prices go up.
Yeah.
Right,
I just
yeah.
don't see
There's
it
a time
happening.
coming, I think, for us when the interest rates get down below 7,
Yeah.
that this is going to
Oh, gosh.
escalate
Oh, yeah.
crazily. And so the people that are sitting and waiting right now could be waiting for a 6.9 and get back to the 20,000 over list. So they really need to look at that. Again, we get back to date the rate, because if you can get in your house now before this massive influx comes back, which I see happening, that's just
Same.
my opinion, is the buyers are going to come back. And when they do, competition is going to go way up. Prices are going to go back up, or competition for multiple offers is going to come back up. So it is, you said it earlier, it is time to be in the market yesterday.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And tomorrow it'll be today. So today is the best time to be in this market because it's going to continue to be volatile until we know when. I don't know when.
Yeah, I don't know if it ever will stop. So I don't know. We can look at the numbers real quick. I
Yeah.
mean, it kind of just go over broad strokes of it. We kind of look at our numbers week over week just to have a better pulse of the market. Fisher's had like 28 go on the market, 11 of them pended, but 25 total pended last week, right? So like we only had a gain of 3 on into the entire Fisher's market last week. There's 116
At
on the
different
market.
price points, we always say it's
All
like,
over the place. It could be 3.
So there's
in
3
this-
at 700. You want a 200? It might be another 6 weeks. I don't know.
Right.
It's just
Sub like
high.
150.
Yeah.
Actually 260 was the lowest price point, right? So, but I mean, average days on market is 22. Like the median for like the broader scope of things is like 8, and Noblesville is very similar. It's 34 went on the market, 25 actually pended. So we had a little bit higher net gain there, but it's still only 129 day or 120 on the market, 22 days on market, 8 median. You know, like nothing is really changing, quite honestly. And all I keep hearing is like the market's changing. The transactions have kind of changed. The personality of the transaction has changed,
Yeah.
but the data has not changed.
No, not at all.
So,
Not for a long time. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know how long we could go back, but at least 4 or 5 months. These
Yeah,
have been
I could go all the way
standard,
back.
yeah,
Yeah.
standard numbers.
yeah, except for like when we were rolling right out of March into April, right? Because we were low. But other than that,
And here we go into potentially the fall market, which I keep saying there is no seasonal market anymore at this,
doesn't feel
in my opinion. So Carmel 43 hit the market, 13 of those pended, so not a lot. Average days on market was 15 with a median of 5, so pretty low there for the past 7 days. In the past 30 days, the average was 12 and 4, so staying the same over the past 30 days. Westfield 44 hit the market, 14 of those pended. And then in that past 30 days, the average was 26 days on market with 11 median. So going well, same again. Zionsville 17 hit the market. Only 2 pended out of those 17. So I always say that Zionsville has the upper hand on low inventory and should be selling more. But the average days on market was 33 for the past 30 days and 7 median. So staying the same.
so Westfield always has a ton of new construction,
Yes.
so it's really high. And I actually think there's a huge Fisher's neighborhood going up in McCordsville, and McCordsville is going to pivot and has been pivoting like very significantly towards like what Westfield has done the past like 6-7 years, and it's going to be really heavy new construction based. It just
Well,
there's too much there's a lot going on out there.
I still think buyers really should be looking at new builds right now as well.
Best interest rate.
Interest rates are down, and you don't pay over list. Just many
Get a
reasons.
warranty on everything.
2-year bumper to bumper.
Yes, sir.
That's what I tell everybody.
100,000-mile powertrain.
Yeah.
So,
Real quick, Meridian Kessler, we had 8 new hit the market, 4 of which pended, leaving 17 listed, and we had 7 closings, anywhere from 235 to 1.5 million. The 1.5 million actually went 50,000 over. So percentage-wise, it's not a huge over, but it's a substantial amount. Days on market 17, median 4. Broad Ripple, we had 7 new hit the market, 5 of which are still there, leaving a total of 13, and we had 7 closings, average price of $352. Downtown, we have 8 new listings hit the market, none of which pended, 119 total, and we had 4 closings, average price is $602,000.
there's some good buys downtown.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's everywhere. I mean, I think anywhere somebody's in a situation where they're
you
just
can
trying
buy.
to get out, or it's like someone I know recently is having a family emergency. They have to get rid of the house. You know, I found that out from somebody, and that benefits my client. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always
But-
gonna be that.
It's just, if you
It's
can buy
different.
right now, you can get a good deal. And I know it seems counterintuitive because you're paying a lot on your monthly, and like I'm super sympathetic to that, right? Like I pay a mortgage, right? Like I totally get it, but I would rather be buying right now than in 2 years. I just would.
yeah, if
And
you're in the
that-
market, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And we said that on the podcast 2 years ago, 1 year ago.
6 months ago.
We just keep watching this happen. Today is still the best day to buy, just no matter
I think-
what.
Do you think people like they think I'm trying to sell or what? Like I'm just not. Like I don't care. Like I don't worry.
The numbers
about
are the
that stuff.
numbers.
The
It
numbers are the
literally
numbers,
shows that if you bought 2 years ago, you have equity. If you bought last year, you have equity and you have a better rate. It just continues to get worse. Eventually it'll get better, and then it'll get worse for everyone else that's trying to get in the market.
Yeah, and I always hope people don't think I'm just trying to sell a house, because I'm not. I'm just trying to give them the experience and the knowledge that I see on a daily basis, because I'm in it every day, and I'm not listening to the news.
I tell people to not buy houses all the time. I'm like,
Right,
this
yeah.
doesn't make sense. This is, I mean,
Right.
you're gonna run into this, and this. This is going on in this general, you know, like there's just so much that I have as a knowledge base all the time. I would tell people,
Yeah.
hey, I don't think this is the one, you know, and this is kind of why, right? Which is like totally counterintuitive what I think people think we actually do for a living. Like I'm just a resource and a knowledge base, and then once we're in it, I absorb all the stress and the emotion and all of that stuff, and I negotiate on your behalf. Like the other piece, like
We take
an
the
agent that
meeting.
does a lot, like it's just not that deep.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
just not.
Yeah.
So.
Well, this has been great, you guys. Thanks so much for joining us on the Indie Housing Market Podcast. I'm Shelly Walters. You can reach me on my cell phone, 317-201-2601.
Me,
You go ahead.
Me
You first.
No, you first.
I like your shirt. Justin Griffith, Keller Williams, Indy Metro Northeast, 317-507-5599.
I have to say it with like the way you did at the end. Kyle Morris of Morris Property Group and FC Tucker, 317-649-5122. Like that?
Yeah. Appreciate it.